So, when you picture someone with a really high IQ, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it someone who's always talking, showing off everything they know, maybe solving complex problems right in front of you? Well, it turns out psychological research paints a very different picture. The reality is often a whole lot quieter and way more surprising. Let's dive into what's really going on inside the mind of a highly intelligent person. Okay, so on the left, you've got the stereotype, right? The Hollywood genius. But over on the right is what cognitive psychologists actually find. Instead of constantly performing their intelligence, you see people who are observing, who are comfortable admitting what they don't know, and who do most of the heavy lifting internally. The real signs are just so much more subtle. And this gets right to the heart of it. Intelligence isn't just a big database of facts that you can pull up and recite. It's a dynamic process. It's a very particular way of engaging with and making sense of the world around you. Think of it like a powerful operating system, not just a hard drive that's full of information. So, let's get started. We're going to move way beyond that old stereotype. We'll explore 10 surprising habits, and we'll kick things off with the ones that happen internally, often totally hidden from view, that give us a real window into a brain that's just wired for deep processing. Okay, so let's explore that active inner world. We'll start with 3 habits that are often completely invisible to anyone on the outside, because this is where the real work of intelligence happens, inside the mind. So, habit number 1 is being comfortable with solitude. Now, this isn't about being antisocial at all. It's really about creating the perfect environment for deep, uninterrupted thought. And that's the key right there. The prefrontal cortex, which you can think of as the CEO of your brain, handling all the complex planning and thinking, it just needs some space to do its job. In fact, some fascinating research from the London School of Economics found that highly intelligent people often feel less satisfied with frequent socializing because their brains are literally craving that quiet time to process everything. Okay, the second internal habit might look a little strange from the outside, talking to themselves. But believe it or not, there's a very clear cognitive reason for it. Yeah, psychologists actually have a name for this, self-directed speech. And it's not just random chatter. It is a powerful tool for organizing really complex thoughts, for strengthening your working memory, and for boosting focus. It's almost like you're narrating your own thinking process just to keep it on the right track. And the third internal habit, it's the tendency to overthink things that seem pretty minor to everyone else. This happens because a highly analytical brain doesn't really have an off switch. The same mental machinery that's used to solve huge problems gets applied to everyday decisions and social interactions, too. So let's just pause on this for a second. I mean, think about it. We might see someone who's quiet and think they're aloof. We see someone overthinking a decision and assume they're indecisive. How often are we completely misreading the signs of a deeply active mind at work? This leads us right into our next section, embracing the unknown. Here, we're going to look at 3 more habits that show us how a highly intelligent mind interacts with the world when it doesn't have all the answers. This brings us to habits 4, 5, and 6, and they all kind of revolve around this idea of intellectual humility. So habit 4 is a constant curiosity, just a stream of why questions about everything. Habit 5 is cognitive flexibility, the idea that beliefs are things that can and should change with new evidence. And habit number 6, and this is a big one, is a real comfort with the limits of their own knowledge. It's the ability to just say, you know what, I don't know. And that's not weakness, it's intellectual honesty. You know, this comfort with the unknown is the direct opposite of a really famous cognitive bias, the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is that well-documented tendency for people with less knowledge on a subject to be way overconfident and seriously overestimate what they actually know. And this comparison just illustrates the contrast so brilliantly. Instead of overestimating, highly intelligent people are often painfully aware of the sheer vastness of what they don't know. They get that every single topic has deep complexity, and that just makes them more cautious and a lot more precise in their claims. Next up, let's look at some really surprising cognitive patterns. These next 3 habits, they might seem completely unrelated to intelligence at first glance, but the psychological research shows a fascinating connection. This brings us to habits 7, 8, and 9, 3 pretty unexpected markers. So habit number 7 is a strong sense of humor, which actually requires the brain to see patterns and connect unrelated ideas in really complex ways. Habit number 8 is a tendency to be a night owl. Some researchers link this to higher cognitive flexibility and an ability to adapt to schedules that aren't so traditional. And finally, habit number 9 is a habit of observing way more than speaking, which lets them do a deeper analysis of social dynamics before they jump in. And all of this leads us to our final and, honestly, most important point, which really ties all these other habits together perfectly. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most defining habit of all. Number 10, a constant search for meaning. A mind that's always processing patterns and seeing complexity is just naturally going to grapple with the bigger questions about purpose, about society, about why things are the way they are. It's almost an unavoidable result of having a high-functioning cognitive system. So what's the crucial point? If you take away just one thing, let it be this idea right here. Intelligence isn't some static trait or a score you get on a test. It's an active, ongoing state of curiosity. It's a brain that just can't stop exploring, questioning, and trying to understand the fascinating puzzle of our world. And maybe that's the best way to leave it, with the very kind of question that a curious mind would ask. Not just what we think, but why we think the way we do. That exploration. Now that is what intelligence is all about.